All right. Welcome to Fight the Funk podcast, exploring mental health, culture, and the world around us. Uh, Doing it through humor, real talk, and goal of reaching higher consciousness. And donate to Fight the Funk. Buy me a coffee at Magic Collins. And next week, I'm going to be having a conversation with Masi Satanyo, founder of Autism Career Paths out of San Francisco. And it says their mission to increase hiring and long-term retention for autistic individuals in small to mid-sized businesses. And also, I want to give a shout out to Cardi B's video. Let's see, Paradox. All right. All right. In today's episode, we'll be talking about their mission to increase hiring and long-term retention. A few things, paradox of choice. So making tough choices. Also, Deputy Clyde Kerr III, who took his life, after talking about police, the systemic oppression. And then also I want to talk about reparations. And I'll start off by last week I think we all are in those situations now where it's like you get a year, and I know there's been decisions that I've been dragging my feet on, having to make. So finally last week I was like, all right, let's now or never. So it's shitty things that you don't want to do, tough choices to make. I think that is part of life as well, where you can't move forward if you're not willing to make choices that aren't going to make people happy. And that's something that I've been learning constantly year after year, where it's like I can't just make everybody happy. It's one of those things where you got to just accept that part of life, where it's like you won't get anywhere if you are trying to please everybody. So one of the things I had to do was lessen the people I follow, and I've been building up towards it for a long time now, telling people like I should do this, I need to do this, and it's like, but I don't want to piss people off. It's like I love I love everybody, so it's like it's hard for me to do things that, even if it's for my well-being, it's still hard to make those choices. But it's like you won't be able to do the things that you're trying to do to help the people that you're trying to help if you can't make tough choices to do those things. So with that, I'm gonna get into so that part is cutting down followers, or cutting down people I follow. And it's like, for me, it's not a sign as far as it sucks, but it's also, you have to work towards your clarity. Like for me, if mental health and learning more about mental health, it doesn't mean I'm less of a creative artist, doesn't mean I'm less, I care less, or I want to help people less. It's just focusing on clarity. And I think as a creative artist, it's like your clarity is everything, man. Like if you in the lab, it's like you can't be in the lab just making dope ass beats and shit, and your mind is all over the place. It's like you got to be on those beats. So I think that's part of it, where it's like learning how you, part of mental health, I feel like is learning how your brain functions, how your specific, what are your needs, and learning how your brain is most optimal and works in the best of ways, and learning the weaknesses of your brain. It's like, in what ways do you like not do well? Like what areas are your strengths? And I think that's for all of us to learn, especially in the society where we're so overstimulated, and we force each other to stay stimulated. And I think that's something, there's an addictive quality to that, where it's like we got to stay in each other's faces. And I think it's important to understand that. And I want to share one thing about that, like kind of piggybacking off of the move that I'm going to continue to make for clarity, so I can continue to be a part of mental health coalitions, mental health movements in the Black community, and mental health in general. Because one of my things is I never wanted to be the Henrietta Lacks of mental health, where it's like I just feel like I'm being studied and I'm not being actually a part of the mental health change. You know, the I'm in the observation deck of mental health, not actually part of in the lab with the people like, let's talk about this shit. So that's always going to be, there's a tension to everything I do, because there's that part of me. I've had this conversation before, but there's that part of me is like, dude, you just Henrietta Lacks in yourself, man. All these professionals, all they're doing is studying you. And so that's part of if you've seen any of my videos, there's part of that. There's a tension of knowing that there's a part of that's happening, where it's like I'm making other people's research, I'm building other people's careers, and that's okay because there's a bigger purpose at stake. But there is a tension to that, and then and I feel like this is not nobody is if we judge each other, it's like, put yourself in the other person's shoes. Like, if anybody out there is like, wow, I wish you would have did, I wish you could do, it's like, sit in this seat and kind of knowing what this is, you know. And there's a higher purpose. This is more important to me. This is more important in my lifetime. And I believe in helping Black males and Black society move forward, and American culture in general move forward, and it's more, the work is that important. And so part of that is to have to scale back on my the people I follow, and trying to give everybody a thumbs up, and I see you, it's like, I feel everybody, man. I got love for everybody. It's like, so I can't prove that. I can't keep proving my love. I can't keep proving that I'm going to show up. Like, I've showed up to so much shit. I've been in so many coalitions. I've had guns in my face, and I'm about that life. So I'm not going to continue to prove that to nobody. And I just want to say, like, so part of that is I want to just put something out there called the paradox of choice. I think that's important for everybody to learn as they continue to move forward in their life, because we get so infiltrated, so much information at us every day, from the day we can walk, from the day we can process. We're just information. Get it, like we get hit with marketing from the day we breathe, from the day we leave the house. Not even leave the house, but we're just bombarded with marketing, with people trying to get our attention. So it's like, so one concept is really important to understand for our own well-being is the paradox of choice. And I would say, look up a TED Talk by Barry Schwartz, and his breakdown on paradox of choice is less happiness, less satisfaction, and can even lead to paralysis. And always, for just a short version of it, just think of the whole aisle of soda. Like, we're not better off because we got 60. And this is a cliche example, but we're not better off because we got 75 choices of soda. 75 different ways to get sugar. Like, we're not better off for that. And it's like, so it's like, when in a healthy society, it'd probably be 2 different options of soda, some real juice in the glass juice, not those plastic ass bottles, but the glass, and then water. It's like we don't need all this conglomerate and spectacle of shit that's not healthy for us. So check that out. Like, I think that helps people be well. Understanding the paradox of choice, and how to it can kind of prepare you on how to be out there, be out in the world, and protect your mental, where it's like knowing that you are bombarded with trying to get, people trying to get your attention. You're bombarded with marketing from your kids to your significant other, and you have to kind of take space for yourself. I mean, not too much space, because too much space is not healthy either. So it's always that balance. And also, this is a transition, but people got to celebrate the work they did last year, man. Like, there's too much focus now on. I think there's a tendency to be negative. There's a tendency to, like, being positive is a practice, and it's like people got to recognize, like, yeah, our cities, and there's things that are going on. Like, even downtown LA is like there's crime going up, and it's like that's part of, like, we got to keep the work and keep the effort and keep the lights on, man. Like, the dirt, whatever dirt that's out there, just keep that flashlight on it, and we got to keep working on that. But also celebrate the wins, like that $1.9 trillion stimulus bill, that would not have happened. That's starting to get momentum and pass through the Senate. It's like, dude, that wouldn't happen had the work last year not happened. Like, had Black and Indigenous people, had working class people, grassroots efforts, progressives, like even some corporate Democrats, even there's some Republicans, the Republican dude from Utah that's making moves. Like, I don't care, I'm gonna stand for what's right. Like, there's some positive things that have been set in place, and people got to remind themselves of that, because it's like we get kind of stuck in the rut of the everyday life that we forget what we've accomplished. And I want to share this because I think it's important to challenge yourself, man. Like, because we are addicted to like stimulants. Like, can you go 20 minutes without no stimulation? Like, can you go 20, 30 minutes without no phone, no laptop, no TV, no noise? Like, can you be with yourself? Like, that's, to me, is like, because there's so many variations to bravery, but some people aren't brave enough to face themselves. And I think if you can't do that, then that's part of the work that's still left to do for yourself. Where why can't you sit with yourself for 30 minutes? Why do you need to, plug in? And I think that's part of the work, is to ask yourself why with certain things to how you behave. It's not a criticism or to beat yourself up. It's just continually ask yourself, oh, that's interesting, I'll do this, or that's interesting, I do this, and I can't stop. So it's that continual of noticing your own behavior, because it's easy to point at other people and pick them apart, and I got this and I got that, and look at them do that, and then I see this, and it's like, because it's hard to look at yourself. So one thing I always say is sit with yourself, see how you are with no stimulation, and why, what thoughts come up, what feelings come up for you, and then have somebody to share that with. If you do a support groups, you have a therapist. That's then you can start. You can get that murky stuff up, man. The stuff that's hard to talk about. Get that stuff up. And I think, like, just even jot it down. Like, take 20 minutes, 30 minutes to just be with yourself. Write that stuff down. What's that murky stuff coming up? And jot that down. All right. So it's Black History Month. I don't talk too much about it. Like, I'll go to stuff and enjoy it. I celebrate the ancestors and the heroes. But it's also, for me, it's like, I don't know what I think it's tricky, because if you start celebrating again, it's like that's how you start putting Black effort on the mantle, and you just saying, man, that was some good work, guys, and you just start moving forward. It's like you get back into everyday life, and it's like, and you just look at that Black history on the mantle and like, man, Black history, cool, we did it. And for me, it's like I can't do that. And I believe there's no real goal that with like the only true goal for me is reparations. It has nothing to do with money. It's like I've said it before, but it's like it's so because money. There's so many different ways to make money. I'll shout out to people that are if you are a financial literacy coach, hit me up, please DM me because I do need a financial literacy coach. Beside that, but there's so many ways to make money. So it's not about that, but reparations it has to be, it's a federal level of change because it starts from the top down. It's like, just like any organization that does well, just like any sports organization that's known for winning, it starts at the top. And it's like, so if there's no real goal, singular goal of reparations that's focused on the federal level, then everything is nickel and dime because every state is so different. Some states have way more baked racism and white supremacy in them that if you nickel and dime these states, then you lose. So it's like for Black America, there's so much importance on singular goal at the federal level. So you're not nickeled and dimed. And one thing, like this man that just gave his life for Black culture to me. The Deputy Clyde Kerr the third, who took his life recently out of Louisiana. He was decorated, and you can't say he was a weak man. Can't say he didn't serve. You can't say he didn't know the system. He didn't know policing. He can't say none of that stuff. Because this man served his time. He put in his time. He knew the system. He knew the abuses, and he's a Black man, and he's part of law enforcement, so he knew both sides of it. And I think there's something to that where it's like the federal level, there needs to be the change at the federal level. And it's like, and if you listen to his, like, it's not about listen to the message, like listen to what the man says in his video, because it's like he's saying the things that are, if it's on the federal level, there can be real change. Like he's talking about civilian oversight. He's talking about term limits, certain amount of hours worked. I'm thinking as far as like not overworking law enforcement. And I feel like a lot of the work that's been done with Black Lives Matter and these organizations is if you have mental health professionals, and there's one mental health professional team, I think it's Oregon or something, but it's like you take the pressure off these law enforcements, and then familiarization where the community knows enough more. Like there's a general level of knowledge with the community of what's going on in these cities. And then he talked about mental health and wellness. So it's like quarterly psych evaluations. Like, cause I think what he said was like one psych evaluation when you first sign up or try to be law enforcement is like, with what these people face and what these people see is like quarterly psych evaluations. And then, and peer evaluations for law enforcement. It's like all these things where it's like more transparency. It's like this dude, he gave his life for his message. He gave his life. It reminds me of when Thich Nhat was talking about his Buddhist friends, his monk friends that set themselves on fire. And I feel like our culture has such a fear and a fear towards suicide that we don't really talk about it, and so we're just very fearful. And for me, it's like let's just talk about the shit, man. Like let's stop walking on eggshells. Like it's not it's not about weakness. Like, let's just talk about it. And I feel like that's where all of our things that we struggle with, they breathe in secrecy. They breathe when people aren't strong enough to talk about this stuff. And it's like, and then if you talk about it, it's like we do a disservice if we feminize, or we downplay, or we separate people. It's like let's just talk about the shit, and flush it out. And this man is like, hearing him talk about the issues, man. It's like it's kind of feels like the Buddhist monks back in the day, where it's like, they set themselves on fire to make a statement for what need to change, for bringing awareness. And I feel like that is what Deputy Clyde Kerr III did, where it's like this man gave his life for the truth, to tell the truth, and to let that be heard. And it's like the least we can do is continue to reimagine the justice system that would be on the federal level, to reimagine the medical system where Black and brown people don't get the worst of the medical industry, and the worst of the mental health industry. So my best wishes, and your heart goes out to the man, in his life, and what he stood for, and the work he's done, and also yesterday was Trayvon Martin, the anniversary. And it's like, there's a lot more to do, and I think it's important, and that's why it's so important to talk about the issues, and talk about mental health, and talk about these things that are affecting us. All right. In closing. So I hope y'all found that informative, and y'all can use some of that information. And so I just want to reiterate, like, look up the paradox of choice. I think that'll help people in their everyday life not be so overstimulated by marketing, and just over, like, we overstimulate each other. Like, you gotta see. It's like, we just gotta chill, man, and keep working. Like it's this stuff, man. Everything's a contradiction. It's like, you gotta chill, but you gotta keep working. It's that balance, man. It never stops. But it gets, there's sometimes it gets out of whack. Sometimes but it's like every now and then you get a nice balance to it. So it's like, and so just reiterate, man, paradox of choice. Thank you to Cardi B and her video. Good. You always get happy when you see Cardi B's drop a new video or something. Like, she's dope, man. And then, and I'm a dinosaur, so I know I hurt some feelings when I cut down on my followers, but it's like, for the way my brain functions, is like, it helps me stay clear, so I can help the very people I set out to help day one. Like I said before, like I know the pain, I know the struggles, I know what people go through mental health wise. And don't be confused, I'm not going through a lot of the things I used to go through. But I know I can relate, and I can be a part of the help. I can be a part of the things where I've been there, I've done it. And I still have my own things where it's like, but it's nowhere near what it was before. And so I would like to continue to do my work, and share what I know. And I will move forward. And it's like, I don't care if some people, you need to be, for other people's lives to make sense, they need you to stay where you are. So it's like, and that's not going to happen. I will be pushing Fight the Funk forward. This will be continual, and it ain't going nowhere. And I just want to close by saying one thing I've been studying Thich Nhat Hanh a lot lately, and he did this talk about uh, he talked about smiling. Like, I refuse to smile until I have joy, because I think we all get stuck in that, man. Like it took me. There was a period I talked about this a lot, but it's like I had to learn to smile. Very hard for me to do, like where I didn't fuck with nobody. It's like so it's like that I can't do it now. But there's a sense of learning how to smile and realizing like you can smile first to it doesn't have to the mind is like we find joy and then we smile. It's like you can smile first, and it's just a nice reminder, man. It's like we always say I'm doing better than most, and that's true, and it's going to remain true. But it's like, but you also you acknowledge where you're at, you acknowledge the work you got to do, but you also acknowledge that sometimes you have to smile before it's like you don't wait for joy. It's like you can smile and then the joy and the body be like, you know what? It ain't that bad. So I think it's important to remind yourself of that. And smiling is a practice, man. Like I said, I had to learn how to smile. And sometimes, and it's not about being fake either. It's like just learning yourself, and like when you're getting tense, and it's like, wait a minute, I'm feeling tense. So I'll leave it on joy and happiness. And it's like you need that. And it's like I think about when I say joy and happiness to handle the despair and the pain in the streets and what's going on, and like there's no civilization that has never been without pain and despair. Like, so there is, like, we do our best, we work and we try and we figure out and we build, and it's like that is part of it. Like, while we're here, why not do our best to treat and build each other up, but we also need to have the joy and happiness to do that, and that's kind of what the message is to people that know the underbelly of all these issues. They're on the front line. They see the things firsthand, and it's like we can't afford to lose people that know the system, that know the things that's going on. Like, we can't afford to lose another Deputy Clyde Kerr III. So it's like, so I encourage people who know people on the front line, knows people that's going through it, and talk about it, man. Let's not assume, let's not project worry on each other, because that's just as unhealthy as not doing anything. And I was like, you got to talk, you got to be honest, you got to create honest spaces, or else you just get caught in this projection loop of I'm assuming this person is going through X, which can be just as damaging as a person going through X, because you're projecting that. So talk about it, and understands, like, there's always have to be that joy and happiness attached to the work, attached to the moving society forward, and celebrate the victories, man, and know, yeah, it's still gonna be real life. Like, it's still gonna be. This ain't about escaping suffering. It's like it's all part of the game of life. But we get better at it. We get better at managing. We get better at knowing where our happiness lies, knowing our practices, and we're all in a place of practicing. Like I practice being real. Like, it's like I practice humor. Just like there's people that practice deceit and lies. It's like those are all practices. So it's like you choose what you practice. So you can choose to practice being real. And some days you might find like, man, I wasn't real today. It's like it's a practice. Practice being humorous, practice smiling, practice reaching out, practice talking to people. It's all a practice. So with that, be well, and I ain't going nowhere. And check out Fight the Funk. We got another episode coming out next week, and I get to talk to. I get to talk to Masi. I don't want to get her name wrong. I need like a name. Like a breakdown, whatever. What am I trying to say? But next week, man, keep a lookout. I'm gonna be talking to Masia Soit Tanyo, and founder at Autism Career Paths out of San Francisco. So check that out. It's gonna be a dope episode, man. We already had a conversation before, and like my goal from day one is to explore mental health in a real way. And kind of shed light on things where it's like, if we all ignorant on mental health, then we ain't going nowhere. So we got to keep talking about it. We got to keep pushing each other to be honest and talk to each other, stop playing with each other, and talk about mental health. And I think this next episode is going to be dope because not too many people know a lot about autism. And for me, it's like just having a conversation with her last week. It was like she was breaking things down. I was like, oh, that's dope. And then how it relates to just life in general. Because if you breathing, your mind, you're trying to figure out the same thing as far as how your mind connects with your body, your heart, your soul. So we all are on that same trying to figure that out and maintain that. So check that episode out next week. I also have an ebook dropping in about a week or so called Ruminating, because that was pretty much what we were all doing last year, is doing a lot of ruminating, a lot of figuring out life, a lot of thinking, overthinking. So check out the ebook that's going to be dropping called Ruminating. And for all the old episodes of Fight the Funk, check that out on iHeartRadio, Pandora. It's only getting bigger. It's only going to be dropping more. And I also got a line coming out as well. Going to be relaunching that too. So a lot going on. Check that out. And if you like this episode, donate, buy me a coffee because your brother liked the coffee. But yeah, so enjoy. I hope you found this valuable. My name is Magic, aka Magic Man. I ain't going nowhere. So have a good one. Be well, and talk to you next time.